All right, today we're going to do an unboxing video on this ESD Safe 2-in-1 soldering and hot air rework station. I bought this specifically because I needed the ability to solder large areas so that the heat would not dissipate in a large piece of copper. So let's go ahead and open up the box and see what's in here. All right, instructions. My favorite. There we go. Nifty little opening system here. Here you can see the actual workstation. And this right here is the air dryer, the air blower. There you go. Next thing up, we have the soldering holder. This is going to connect underneath here, just like that. Pretty slam dunk. All right. We have the soldering iron itself. Now, this soldering iron does not have a plug that goes into the wall. It has a plug that specifically needs this workstation, and it'll get plugged in right here. We have numerous different shapes and sizes of bits for the soldering iron. Likewise, some different air heads for the air blower. All right. This also comes with a desoldering pump, so if you're melting solder and you want to remove it from something, you can suck it up into the pump here. That's kind of a nifty little deal. Some tweezers, because you know, don't want to burn your fingers. A couple of different rolls of solder. These look like they're the same product, just two rolls of it. This is a tin content of 63% and a lead content of 37%. I don't know if this is, it's not, we do have some different check boxes here. This says 1.0 and this says 0.08, so they're different thicknesses, it looks like. All right, well, that's cool. And lastly, in the box, we have a little Brillo pad thing for keeping the soldering tip clean. These are really helpful. All right, so let's get busy. The reason why I bought this product was specifically because I needed to be able to solder onto large plates of copper. Let me give you an example of what I've been doing. So, a long time ago, I had this old soldering iron. This thing is just a Radio Shack special. I mean, I don't even know if there's going to be a Radio Shack anywhere around you by the time you read this or watch this video. But this thing is ancient, and it has been, it's done what it can do, and I'm pretty much going to throw this thing out. It doesn't have a whole lot of wattage. I think it says here, it doesn't even tell you what the wattage is. Oh, here we go at the bottom. 30 watts. This is a 30-watt iron. So I stopped using that one a long time ago, and up to this point, I had been using this one. This is a 60-watt soldering iron. It's a bit better tip. It's a thicker tip at the top. I use this for a lot of stuff, but mostly for soldering. The tip can handle a bit more heat. And because it's thicker, it'll hold more heat into it. So when you touch something that's cold, it won't get cold quite as quickly. But for this application, I've been finding it wanting. So I have a couple of other soldering solutions that I've been trying to use. I've had this old Weller gun. These guns have flat tips and whatnot. These are really good for actually, I use it more for melting plastic than soldering, but it, it doesn't really fill the bill either. The problem is when I'm trying to solder on a flat piece of copper, the heat dissipates very quickly on the copper. Copper is a heat sink basically, and when you get it hot, it spreads the heat, and you don't get a hot spot hot enough to do any soldering. So what we're going to do is, instead of trying to use a hot tip and hoping that the tip will get it hot enough that you can get a localized area where you can get solder to stick, that just doesn't work. It just dissipates way too quick. Even with the Weller with a flat surface, it doesn't give you enough surface that you can get any solder to melt. What I had been doing was just using an open flame, and it's just not controlled enough for me to be able to adequately put like an electrical tab on here. If I wanted to have a male connector, I can't really solder that onto here because it dissipates too quick. All right, so let's go ahead and set this system up and see if we can use the rework air system to get this whole surface hot enough that we can get some solder on it. All right, first observation, this cord fully stretched out to the very tip, from the base all the way to the tip, is 40 inches. So I mean, that's not really very long, just a little over 3 feet. But if you're going to plug this into your workstation, you probably assume that you have a wall access. But if you plan on using this, as I do, and from one location to the next, you're always going to need an extension cord. So just FYI, it's only 40 inches long, so plan ahead on that if you plan on getting one of these. When you combine that with the length of the different cords that you have, whether it be, you know, the wand or the actual soldering iron itself, it does get a little bit longer, but not that much longer. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish getting this connected. All right, the soldering iron connection has a connector that has there's a tab on the inside here, so you can't get it wrong. 2 on one side, 3 on the other side, another in the middle. But basically, you just want to line it up so that it lines up. You can see where the tab goes right there. So that little tab will go on the top, and then you can just screw it in. All right, so unlike your traditional soldering iron, it's all plugged in. Everything's plugged in, but it's not turned on. This is not hot. It doesn't go hot when you first plug it in. So one of the biggest problems with just a standard soldering iron is when you plug it into the wall, it gets hot. And it's hot like right now, and you really can't control its heat or whether it's on or off. But this gives you some additional controls, and we'll go over those in a couple minutes to control how hot it is and whether it's on or off. All right, so first thing we want to do as a test is we're going to play with this air attachment, and we're going to see how hot that gets on this piece of copper to see if we can solder an electrical connector onto that piece of copper. All right, we've got it all set up. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on. On the back here, there's a little switch, power switch. Right here, you can see the power for the gun, and you can set the heat gun up. We're going to put it up to as high as it'll go. All right. You see it. You set it, and then it starts to increase, and it gets up there pretty quick, which is kind of cool because you can see how quickly it is that it heats up. Now, if I were to turn it back down, and let's say I wanted to get it down to 500. There we go. It says, okay, you're at 4 whatever. And this is the actual temperature coming back down. So that's kind of nifty. Gives you really good control over the temperature coming out of this unit. I went ahead and put the medium-sized tip in here. There's 2 tips. You got the medium and a larger tip, or the smaller and the larger tip. But we'll start with the medium one and we'll see what it looks like. But let's go ahead and push this up as high as it'll go. So that I know that we are going to get this piece of copper nice and hot. Okay, hopefully you'll be able to see through the magnifying glass what it is I'm working on. Okay. All right. All right, we're getting some solder in there. Excellent. All right, mission accomplished. Very happy with the way that that worked. Certainly going to make that task a whole lot easier. All right, so turning the unit back on and off. With the back power turned on, if you want to turn on the soldering iron, you press both of these at the same time. And then you're going to want to set the temperature to whatever it is that you want to set it to. We're going to set it down to, say, the lowest it'll go is 392. All right. And then it will, I was already playing with it, so it's already pretty hot, but it'll come down to that temperature. When you're working with the air unit, same thing. If you press the two buttons at the same time, it'll come on, and then you can set whatever you need to whatever your temperatures are going to be. I'm just going to pick it here. Now the unit will turn on when you lift it up. Okay, it's going to come to temperature. That was pretty quick. I'm going to set it back down. We're going to turn it off. See how when I set it down, it automatically went down to 0? It's kind of an automatic feature right there. It still spins, it still blows air while it's cooling down, and then it will cool down. When you're completely done, you can turn the whole thing off. Now, I'm still coming down to temperature on the wand, but we're getting there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and melt a little bit of solder on here just to get this tip tinned up a little. See if we can take it up a little. Come on. Here we go. Just want to get some solder on the tip here. There we go. All right, when you're all done, you tamp it in the thing, and you can put it away. Now this has an automatic shut off, so if you leave it, you just walk away from it, it'll turn itself off after 10 minutes of non-use. It has kind of a detector for that. So this unit's really pretty nifty. I'm very pleased with how well it soldered that electrical component, and the temperature increase, how quickly it came to temp and was ready to solder. This is way better than all of my Radio Shack soldering irons, and I'm very pleased with this. So I hope that answers any questions you have about pre-purchase, or if you're at all interested in one of these systems. Again, this is just to review, ESD Safe 2-in-1 soldering and hot air rework station. So there you go. That's all I got today. Cheers.